What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jabari Warfield. Thank you for dropping by the Jazz and Other Vibes podcast. Certainly appreciate it. Just a minute, we're going to talk to an emerging artist whose music I absolutely love. We're going to find out what he's got going for 2025. Don't forget to check in with me on KAZI 88.7 FM. I'm going to be on alternate Wednesdays from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., bringing you jazz and other vibes, smooth jazz and R&B from today and back in the day. And, of course, check me out on YouTube and also on mixcloud.com, where you can get audio versions of all the podcasts. And definitely glad you guys are joining us. A really great artist that I've had the chance to listen to, and I got his debut release, Emergence, came out, I think it was about a year or two ago, and he's got a great sound, man. I love this kid, really love this kid. He's got a new one coming out later on this year. We're going to talk to him about Boundless and talk to him about all kinds of things, including who got the best gumbo in New Orleans, because I definitely got to find that out.
Yeah.
Lemek is in the building. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, Jabari? Much love and thanks for having me, man.
Well, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy young man, but that's what it takes to be in this industry. So I definitely appreciate your
Certainly.
time. All right. So let's talk about what you've been doing so far, dude. You had a chance to play Seabreeze and Catalina Island. Those are major festivals, man. How did that feel?
Yeah. Man, it's been very a humbling experience, man, because ever since my debut CD released a few years ago in 2023, I've just been embraced by the smooth jazz community and all the venues and people and listeners and radio stations and everybody alike. It was a it's awesome because I actually got to share Catalina. We did that show first, and I got to share that experience with my dad, who is a saxophone player, Quinn Gerard W. And he's been in the game for even before I was born, but he actually had to, kind of step away. So that show was the catalyst for my launching my career and his reemergence back into the scene for smooth jazz. And so we both shared that stage, and it was a beautiful experience. It was like my first time actually being able to, as an artist, experience that travel like high, I guess you can call it, because like you're flying out to a venue, you get to take the ferry to go to Catalina. I'm sure you know how that whole experience
Yes,
is,
sir.
and
Yeah,
then you
man.
get to see that gorgeous island once you dock, and you get to see all that stuff, and then go up to the lighthouse and perform for these people that are excited to see you. Is That was the first time I got to see that, because I've been a sideman pretty much just my entire career, playing rhythm backup for people. But that was my first show as Lemek the artist. Like, people are coming to see you specifically. So that was a cool deal. And I love Catalina, and that was just a great experience. And then fast forward a few months later, I did Seabreeze, which is a different type of experience altogether, but still that same energy. So Seabreeze was cool because I got to go, and when you go there, it's a huge, huge venue. Like, that's the most people, I think, other than Jazz Fest here in New Orleans. That's like, for just smooth jazz, that is one of the biggest audiences I've ever seen
Wow.
personally. And so
Wow.
I got to perform in front of 10,000 people last April for the Rising Star slot that they do at Seabreeze, and it was great. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot from a lot of these venues and putting on these shows, because I had an idea going into it, like, okay, these are the type of shows I'd like to put on, but until you get there and you actually start doing it, that's when you really find your identity as an
Right.
artist.
Right.
So Catalina was like the first one where it's like, okay, I see how to put that type of show, kind of like more classic, should I say, like the jazz oriented shows, you know what I mean? Where like you're actually like, people are there to see how you are on instrumentation, kind of like, should I say, like how Kirk Whalum would put on a show back in the day. Then Seabreeze, I got to see a lot from more modern, like pop R&B acts. You know what I mean? Because like Kool and the Gang was performing the night after, like, no, the couple hours after I did.
Oh,
So I got
wow.
to see
Nice.
their show and learn on how they put on a show, and you can see how the different genres of music, they present their music in different ways. I also performed with my friend Nathan Mitchell, who was on the night after me, put on a freaking phenomenal show. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting there back there playing, and I'm just like, dude, this dude is just insane. He's on another level with this. But Seabreeze, man, I learned a lot, and I'm not the same person that I was a year ago. There's been such tremendous growth between April 2024 and July 2025 right now for me. I'm not the same musician, not the same person. I've learned so much last year with all the shows that I did. I went to Portugal for the Algarve Jazz Festival after that.
Nice. Yeah, man.
And that was a different show, and that's really where I kind of even though it was a really quick turnaround because Algarve was only typically like a few weeks after Seabreeze. I was like, I took all the knowledge and the things that I learned and applied some of it to that show. And then that's where I start to build like, okay, this is who Lemek is live. Like you hear the album, you heard who I am on streaming and for radio, but live, this is the identity that I'm gonna go with. So that's who I am now. So
Awesome.
great
Very cool.
experiences.
Well, like you said, it's one of those things where I think as an artist, as a creative, you're always going to grow. You're always going to have those experiences. And I'm not sure what your age is, but I assume that at some point, being in this game at a young age or younger
Hmm.
age, and then seeing what your dad has contributed, and the reactions that people are giving him, and then
Yeah,
Nathan Mitchell, I heard Nathan Mitchell on a live concert on Sirius XM while I
yeah,
was driving out of town, and I was like, man, this brother's killing it. So I
yeah.
relate. I get what you're saying. So yeah, at some point you're not the same person, and you're not going to be. I think every experience is going to give you some amount of growth, right, as an
Yeah,
artist.
absolutely. And to answer your first one, I just turned 26 last month. So,
Man, come on, yes sir. All right, young
yeah,
lion,
so
I feel you.
yeah, so 26 years young as they call it. To be honest, I can't believe it myself because I feel like I just turned 21 like 3 days ago. But time flies, man. But yeah, no, I'm not the same, man. And honestly, I know you may want to ask me this later, but for my new release, Boundless, that's what that album represents. That album was created essentially with all the experiences and people that I've met over the past year in mind. First album, Emergence, only really had two people featuring it on it, and that was my dad and a good friend Ryan. But going into this one, I was like, you know what? I wanted to represent a lot more of the people that I know because I'm friends with a lot of people in the industry, and I want to represent that more in this next album, and to show the growth because I'm like, I'm one of those cats. My story started young. I played drums when I was 2, and then picked guitar up when I was 5. And throughout my journey, I journeyed with like a lot of different styles, man. Like I was into like rock, even some heavy metal. I was into video game music, orchestral. I listened to classical, blues, everything, man. It's like I do it all for the most part, or at least attempt to. But that's where I get a lot of influences from. I don't stick in one box, and so going into the live scene and seeing how free you are to really express yourself. I think the music should reflect that. And really show who I am as a person and what I can do. So
Exactly, exactly.
I've taken a lot of advice. I've learned a lot. I've taken some lumps over the past year, but it's all a part of growing. That's
Oh,
just how
sure.
it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the lumps can actually help you grow because it's like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going
Oh
to do
yeah,
something different. You know.
listen, I know how this is and how to navigate a lot of stuff a lot better because this I tell this to my friends all the time. It's like there's no blueprint for what we do. Like there's no roadmap. Nobody sits you down in a class and be like, okay, this is what you got to do every time for a live show. This is how you make a record. There's no blueprint for that. This is you figure this out and you find your own roadmap. But there are pitfalls that some people may be kind enough to warn you about.
Right.
Most people will not. So you will have, yeah. So you got to find out yourself, and you just got to take the lumps and learn it and keep it as a teaching moment. And it's a beautiful thing because to be on the other side of it, because now I'm like, okay, I know what to watch out for. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I know what
Yes,
to
sir.
look for,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And you see stuff when it comes out. Things pop out at you, and you'll be like, "Ah, I've been down that road before. I'm good.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
need that."
yeah. We'll
So
make it right. I'm not dealing with that. Just
yeah,
trying to
we
make
don't
you
need
mad.
that. And then keeping peace, man. Keeping your mental, that is also important, man, because there's a lot of things that you'll deal with on the road that really tests your stamina and
Yeah,
your endurance on this. A lot of things is like if you're not a very patient person and you tend to get angry a lot, then you're going to be tested a lot.
yeah,
Eventually it'll take you to a place where you're like, all right, you know what, it's not worth it. Just chill out. Everything's going to be all right. It's going to work
yeah.
out.
Exactly. Would you
Do
consider yourself a
what you
patient
do.
person?
Yes, I'm more patient than a lot of people I know, although I do have my limits.
Well, yeah, I think we all do. But yeah, at some point, yeah,
Yeah, I do have my limits. It's like when things get to the point where it's like, okay, like I I've been patient. Come on, can we get this right here? That's when it is. But now, even still, even if I get to that point, I'm like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. We're just gonna make it work. I'm gonna have fun regardless the situation. We're gonna make this work. When I'm just gonna protect my peace no matter what, man. Because it's like that stuff will shave years off your life.
yes, sir, all
I
day.
can't listen. I grew up old school. All right. I grew up with a grandfather in the house. My dad was in the house. I've seen family and people. I learned a lot of lessons secondhand from people. And
Right.
you gotta make sure that you keep it, because life is too short to be dealing with a bunch of drama, man. That's
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure
Yes, sir.
you know what it is, man. But
Believe me, brother, I do. I do. Trust and believe
yes,
that for sure. Yeah.
but regardless, most of the time it's great.
Cool.
You keep a
It's
positive attitude, and people will respond to that.
exactly. Yeah, I mean the music game is a crazy game, and and I've heard it from people, especially
Yeah.
folks that have been in it for a while, folks that are new to it, and you really have to, like you said, you have to protect your peace. There are going to be lessons that you've learned that you take with you, and lessons that you can pass on to other folks that get into the game, because everybody wants the bag, right? Everybody wants to get paid. But
Yeah.
there's some potholes in the road that you got to watch out for. You know.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people are trying. They will do everything they can to keep you from it. It's
Right.
not easy. But the thing is just make sure that your business is all straight. Because the thing is about us musicians nowadays. I didn't grow up in this era like back in the '80s where you had like people that take care of all that stuff for you. But you've got to be the musician. You've got to be the travel agent. You got to be the booking agent. You got to be the producer. You got to be the engineer. You got to be all these different things. You got to be a lawyer sometimes. You
Right.
have to wear every hat now in the genre. It's not like you typically have a lot of people to do this for you. I mean, you can find people, well, you can get a booking agent, you can get a manager and all that stuff if you want to go that route. But a lot of times, most of the people in this genre now, we're just doing it all ourselves, because that's
Yeah.
just what you got to do, you know?
Right.
Just have
Exactly.
to do that. And so typically a lot of times when you're wearing that hat, all those hats, you get spread so thin, but
Yeah.
if
And it can get
and
frustrating too to have to wear all those hats.
it can, but I don't think now there's much of a choice. You kind of got to start out. It's kind of like now you gotta work up to the point where you're able to get all of those perks that used to be, I guess, given to you probably at the start.
Right.
It's like, it don't work like that really a
Right.
lot of
No.
times. It's like nowadays it's like, no, you gotta put some work in, a lot of work in, and there's no guarantee at the end of the tunnel. So that's why
Right.
every day I'm blessed to be in the position I'm already in, because everybody I go to shows and they're kind enough. It's like, oh man, if you're here now, just imagine where you'll be in 20 years. And I'm like, well, I don't know where I'll be in 20 years. I'm just enjoying it now.
Yeah.
I try and stay grounded because I don't know what the future holds. I'm not going to pretend to know. I'm not psychic. I just enjoy every day that I'm here. I'm able to make people happy and have joy from listening to the music I put out. and I enjoy listening to music and I enjoy playing my instrument. I'll start there, and whatever happens, happens. That's the philosophy I live by.
That's the best philosophy to live by, man, because
Yeah,
and right now you're off to a great start too, man.
yeah,
Really great start. So, but you're right. It's, the future. Let me back up for a second. I think, with the advent of social media, everybody believes that it's very easy to get in and get paid because we've seen
it's
a lot of
not.
people that are dealing with that. But there's still the gatekeepers. You know what I
Well,
mean?
there's the gatekeepers, but also nobody shows you them getting hundreds of rejection letters.
Right.
They don't, they always put the makeup on the social
Right.
media. There's never, it's always happy. If you notice that you go watch stuff, there's no negativity, when it comes to a lot of people's lives, like influencers as they call it. And then that's another thing you have to do is content creation. That's probably the hardest job of them all. I used to do that years ago, even before I started doing smooth jazz and started releasing music. I was just a guitar guy on Instagram. I would post videos and stuff. There's a lot that goes into that. But if you see it, you'll go watch a lot of stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I've been to this country, I played with this person, or I do all this stuff. Look where I'm at right now.
Right.
And I can do all of that you probably would see on Instagram. I can go post all the photos from me going to Iceland and all that stuff, and I do. But the behind the scenes of what it takes to get there is not fun. And a lot of people, if they were to look at that, they would be like, okay, maybe that's not. I might do a double take. They might want to do it, but they'll consider it more.
Right. And give it more consideration because it is work.
Yeah.
You're in a business. And it's going to be work, and there's going to be some crazy stuff going on. And yeah, I love social media. Trust me, I'm all over it. But
Yeah.
there's an
So
illusion to it.
no, yeah, this is a heavy illusion, and I don't. Uh, I kind of I broke the fog with that a few years ago because once I started doing those videos and thinking like years later, like, oh, all this stuff will happen. All I got to do is just get to this X amount of followers, and then I realized something. I was like, you know what, man? Not everybody is meant to have a lot of that stuff, man. And I
Right.
know that's not the most positive outlook to have on that, but it's the most realistic out. Not everybody's gonna make that. Not everybody's
True.
going to make it. And so you got to be realistic and be like, okay, do you need this? Why are you chasing that kind of validation for something? What do you need it for?
Right.
Like, is the reason you're doing this correct? And I had to ask myself that way. And then honestly, another thing is just the content creation. Is I just got burned out because
Yeah.
you know what goes into it. It's literally a full-time job, and I'm like, okay, what's the return on investment on a lot of this stuff? Should I be
Yeah.
using this in different avenues? Should I stop wasting my time on something on a few likes on Instagram and a couple people being like, oh, you're great, like, or should I start putting in music and actually doing something that'll give me more fulfillment later on?
Yes, sir.
I think that's important.
Oh yeah.
And
Definitely.
that's how this came out with some help
There
from
you
my
go.
dad.
Right.
So I don't post nearly as much as I should. I know a lot of people would probably prefer I post more, but I'm like, it's just I'm busy, got to find time for that stuff, and hopefully one of these days, I can find that balance from where I'm not wasting my creativity on just a 30-second clip that goes on
Right.
Facebook,
Yes,
or
sir.
put that time in to get an actual song done that can go on the next album.
And by the way, for y'all that don't have the emergence release, please get this. I'm telling you, it's so yes, there
Still
we go.
available. Yep.
Yeah,
Go
man. Yeah,
get your
man.
hands on that.
Yes, sir. Bert's Mood and Do You Love Me is a song. Those were the two songs I started playing when I got it on my show.
Nice.
And
I
also
love doing
I
those
got
live.
yeah, the great, right? I want to hear that one live. I want to hear both of those live. That would be dope.
Oh man, gotta come to one of my
Yeah.
shows, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Bert's Mood is great because I like the way that it starts out nice and mellow, and then that beat just bam,
Yep.
just drops. Like
That one was I worked on with Chris Big Dog Davis. He actually wrote that one for me, and he showed it up one day, and then we played it. That was written in inspiration for the late Burt Bacharach. Hence the reason why it's
nice.
called Bert's Mood. So we
Okay.
dedicated that song to him for that album, and I just love it. It's got a great vibe, and I do I do that intro a cappella with just the keyboard, and I love how it comes across. It's just a beautiful song. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a great song, man. It's a great song. Shout out to Big Dog. Big Dog was here in town. He came through with Mesa. I think it was last year.
Nice.
Yeah, nice dude, man. Really nice dude, and
Oh,
very, very talented.
like he likes to say, all love, man. This is his
Yes,
best
all love.
catchphrase.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
love.
That's definitely that's a big dog Davis Mark right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Um, so your dad, of course, is Quentin Gerard W. Hopefully, I'm saying it right. Quentin Gerard W.
You got it right.
I,
Yep.
I gotta. I'll just be honest with you. I haven't really caught up on his music because I got back into jazz radio just a few years ago, and so I got to catch up on my pimping when it comes to Quentin Gerard W. How much of an influence did he have, and what kind of influence did he have?
Heavy influence. I mean, he probably should. I should say all the influence. So he's the one. I started on drums when I was 2. He got me a drum set, and I actually took it pretty far throughout my childhood. But the thing is, eventually we moved. We were living at Florida at the time. Then we moved here to New Orleans when I was around 3, and then a few years later, he was like, "All right, look, I need a studio. This house is not that big, so I got to pack up your drum set. We putting that in the attic." There went my drum career. So, so never played drums and never got it back since. But when I was 5, his friend of his named Albert Davis came by with an acoustic guitar and handed it to me. I guess it was for my birthday. I came to find out like a couple years ago because I didn't remember it ever being my birthday. He just showed up one day with a guitar and just gave it to me. So that's how I remember it. So,
Right, right.
but he told me recently, he's like, "Yeah, that was your birthday." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So ever since then, I took to the guitar, and while I was doing that, the whole time he would be writing music and producing his own records. And growing up hearing that music, it really taught me a lot about melody and how orchestration works with when it comes to writing music, like how you start. Like sometimes you might start with piano, sometimes you might start with a drum groove, even sometimes you might start with the bass, and depending on which element you start with might determine like the final outcome because you might approach it different. So I would hear a lot of his songs growing up, and then he would work with different musicians that would come to the house and they'll record live, live drums, live bass, and all that kind of stuff. And he would do that kind of stuff. And growing up, and then one of his buddies named Ian Villafana, he was a guitar player. He was basically kind of like my first guitar teacher. I didn't really take formal lessons from him, but I would always be there while he's recording and I would hear him play, and a lot of that is psychological. If you're into it and you can hear it, you may not be practicing, so you might not have the technical ability yet, but what you're
Right,
doing is you're training your ear.
right.
So a lot of my ear training came from a young age, and that also helped. Eventually, years later, I kind of took a break from the guitar, but then came back around 12, 13 years old. And that's where I went into like the more rock space because I started listening to a lot more melodic rock. And
Nice.
that really started the, actually getting proficient at my instrument. As far as influencing like how I play and stuff like that, all of that is a heavy influence on me, but it started with my dad and his
Okay.
music and how he would write. So huge
Very
influence
cool.
to answer your question.
Very cool. Nice, nice. So yeah, you actually you're a fan of rock, of course, and I'm also a fan of like '70s rock. I'm a big fan of '70s rock, dude. But there's a Peruvian band, I guess, there's a rock that you like to listen to, and another heavy metal band, and that sounds like it's also been a big influence on you.
Yeah, well, it wasn't so much a band. It was a Peruvian guitarist named Charlie Pera. He was a YouTube guitarist, and he would post a lot of videos of him playing, like doing solos. And I would hear that stuff, and it's a different style, of course. But the thing was really gravitated towards me personally is how melodic it sounded because he would play these arpeggios that would outline a lot of the chords that he was playing, and I was like, that. It reminds me a little bit of jazz, right? But the thing is, it's had a lot more edge to it that I was like, okay, that's when I heard it. I was like, I want to pick up my guitar. If nothing else in life, I'm going to learn how to play what he just played. Then that led into like the prog rock stuff where I would listen to a lot more like prog rock, prog metal stuff, but a lot of that stuff, it's not as it's a lot of it I still to this day will swear by it's good music because a lot of them take a lot of jazz influences, especially in the prog space, because they would listen to a lot of like actually straight ahead and bebop stuff from like the 60s and incorporate it with like the metal element. And a lot of that stuff, it really works because it's beautiful music the way they orchestrate a lot of this stuff, but it's just a lot more heavier than a lot of people are accustomed to. All of that is important because that's how I defined my sound. What should I say? Not sound. Should I say playing? Like my playing comes from a lot of that because I will take elements from bits and pieces of just not just the rock stuff, the prog stuff, but then the jazz stuff, the blues stuff I've heard. Like Eric Gales is a big, huge
Right.
influence on me right
Yeah.
now. I think he's one of the best guitar players on planet Earth right now, to be honest with you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's huge, and then you've got even some pop elements with like when it comes to production and like how to really convey that in your writing. All of that stuff was around that time span, and I was really just deep diving into that. Even some things when it comes to like cinematic and film music. Huge film music lover, man. I listen to a lot of that stuff and still draw inspiration from a lot of that. And hopefully in the future I get to incorporate more elements. I've kind of dabbled a bit in some aspects, like my song Apex. They have like a little breakdown on that Emergence album where I'm really breaking out with like the string sections and the
Right.
orchestration and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Another song that's on my upcoming album Boundless, where I'm getting more into like the synth and the string elements and how they orchestrate together. So a lot of that stuff I'm always listening to, and I appreciate it. And before being a player, I'm a music lover first. Like,
There you
because
go.
I geek out on a lot of the stuff I hear. So, but yeah, all of that's important, man.
Very good. Yeah, man. And you know what, man? That could be. Who's to say that you couldn't be in that space? You know what I mean?
No,
Especially
I
if you're
could.
looking at it now. Because I think it's again we were talking about gatekeepers and people who have been in the business. Hey, why not focus on bits and pieces now, man? Because you never know where that could take you.
Yeah, listen, I can do it all, man. It's just where, like I mentioned earlier, where do I want to put my focus at? You know, it's just
Exactly. Exactly.
who am I at the end of the day? Like, who am I? What does my soul speak to? And I think this smooth jazz is a pure music. It's the first music I ever heard when I was in the car. I would always listen to what my dad was playing in the back seat, and he played Ronnie Laws, and he had the Yellow Jackets, Rippingtons, and stuff like that on, and and even some R&B stuff like Gap Band, Charlie Wilson, all that kind of stuff. So all of that is me. That's who I am. I'm everything. And
There
so
you go.
how can I make sure that my music is conveyed in a way that truly represents who I am, but also is still, true to the genre and, what smooth jazz is, because you don't want to go too far from it, but you definitely want to push the boundaries and evolve it because it is a very unique sound. But I do think that it needs to get younger,
Yeah.
in which case, and so that's really what I'm here to do. And when I signed to Trippin' in Rhythm a few years ago, I talked with the A&R guy, and he was like, yeah, well, what's going to happen to smooth jazz in, say, 15, 20 years? Where's the audience for it?
That's a good point.
You
That's a
know
real
what I
good
mean?
point.
I
Yeah.
mean, I love the audience. They're the most beautiful people I've ever met, but it's like, who's replacing them for this genre?
Right.
Where they at? So music has got to get younger. So that's why I'm like, well, how many different elements can I put to really keep the smooth jazz identity, but also make it to where it's more palatable for a new generation of listeners to come in and really enjoy this music? Because even smooth jazz from like the 80s and 90s, that's just good stuff, man.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
it's heavily underrated as a genre, man. And so I guess people kind of, it's hard to get over the no lyric aspect of it, but I personally, I have always been like an instrumental music person. Like, it probably seems like weird for me to be a guitar player and be like, oh yeah, of course you're instrumental because you play guitar.
Right.
But I'm like, even if I didn't play guitar, like music with no lyrics, I get to hear the music, like the sonic vibrations, and not get caught up in what the vocalist is saying, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
and let me know if I'm rambling too much, man. But
No, you good. You good. You all right.
yeah, but I can talk about this for a long time, man. It's like, you know, people, music is meant to invoke an emotion, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
But typically, a lot of the times, you'll find like the lyrics is the thing that everybody focuses on, because then it'll bring up maybe something happened, past trauma, your ex broke up with you. That's what you focus on, but you're missing everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not focused on how the strings are outlining, say, this one chord progression that the lyricist is intentionally singing on top of, with that tagline of the lyrics that's making you feel that way. Like, you're not focusing on that. You're just focusing on what he's saying or she's saying. You
Yep.
know,
Exactly.
and that's why I listen to instrumental, because I can really hear it and be like, okay, this is what the music is. This is the sonic vibrations that's making me feel this way.
Right.
And that's what
Yeah.
I love about it. That's why I love music. It's not because of anything the person is saying, which is great. I still listen to vocalists, but that's not why I like music. You know, that the strings being played, the drummer doing this fill to set up this next section, the basses outline a chord, or playing something that the guitarist is playing, like a riff that is a tag or something. Just all of that is just what gets me personally. That's what speaks to me. So,
Amen to that. I like
yeah.
that. I like that. Well, I kind of, I mean, I can relate to that because one of the things that got me into this music was David Sanborn.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a song called Carly's Song by him when I
Mm-hmm.
was probably like 14 or 15. My cousin played it for me. I was
Mm-hmm.
up in Michigan visiting a family up there, and I heard the song because he had the Hideaway album, and I'm
Yeah.
listening to it, and it just, I mean, for a teenager, it just took me somewhere. It took me to another space, and I'm like, wow, this is
Mm-hmm.
incredible. This
Yeah.
dude can, and not only is he playing great, the chords behind it and the
Yeah.
changes, forget about it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Then there'll be a tag, something that's iconic and just makes the song that they
Yes,
write.
sir.
That we write. It's like, without it, the song doesn't exist. Coming up with that kind of deal, it's just, yeah. That's music to me. That's just always been what it is, and I'm thankful. I'm born when I was. I'm able to enjoy this, because this is what makes life to me. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't imagine life without music in some form. Like, bump me being a musician. Like, I don't have to be a musician at all. Like, you could take my playing ability away, I will still love music. Like, and honestly, sometimes I get sad because I'm like, man, I gotta play the show, but I would kind of like to be in the audience watching right now.
That'd be a nice trick. That'd be a neat trick,
Yeah,
bro.
I'd be like, man, I gotta play. That's great and all, but like, can I catch the shows, man? Like, do I have to go back to the hotel right now? Like, can I stick around? Like,
Exactly.
that's kind of what I want to do. But that's just, it's life. You got it's all good, man. Like,
That's funny though. I ain't never heard nobody put that.
yeah, it's like,
Never had it put like that.
yeah, man. Like, I want to watch the show, man. Like, I don't feel like playing right now.
Exactly. Maybe you should just here's what you should just go like sit next to somebody
Oh
and
yeah,
play while the band's playing.
no. Mm-hmm.
It might work.
That's
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
I do something like that. I go out in the crowd a lot because, that's just what I do. I love being out next to people and seeing everybody enjoying themselves and stuff. That just makes my day. But also, I do it to hear what the band is doing and what we actually sound like. Because
Yep.
on stage, I don't know if anybody's ever told you, it is a completely different world than what you guys are hearing out in the front. I'm telling you, it sounds nothing like it. You might hear it and be like, "Oh my God, this band sounds great," but when you're on stage, it is a different world. We do not sound at all like that. So
Right.
I come out to be like, okay, is this how we're sounding? Okay, good, good. And going forward, I might need to tweak something, and that's wired producer brain coming out.
Right.
Yeah, but I might sit next to somebody. Just cop a squat.
Yeah, just Cop Squad, just start playing or let somebody do a solo and, do a little
Yeah,
riff
there you
behind
go.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yo, you
yeah.
do that, get that on video and send it to me, man. I'd love to
Oh,
see
we'll
that.
do for sure. I'll see if I can. Well, I got some glasses where I take some video. You just hit the button of what I think it's called the Ray-Ban Metas.
Yeah, the Ray-Bans. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are
Yeah,
tight. Those are
I've
great.
got a pair of those, so I'll take some video next time I do that and send it to you.
Yes, sir. That works. All right, couple more questions for you. So let's talk about Boundless, man. This is number two. Tell
Yeah,
me a little bit about it. I know you got a copy of it somewhere. You got a little copy
yeah,
of it
right
somewhere.
here. So
Show it to the
everybody,
people.
this is my next album. It's called Boundless, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier. This album was written and it was worked on with everything that we've talked about today in mind. So I wanted to have an album after Emergence follow up that had more features on it. Because, the first one was great to have. And there was a lot of people that worked on the first one, actually, like Chris Big Dog Davis, Adam Hawley worked on it. Ryan
Yeah.
Lavalette did production on two of the tracks. Nicholas Cole worked on it, but none of them were actually featured on them. You know what I mean? So I wanted to have more features on it and feature my friends that I've met because, like, I got to meet Lynn Roundtree last year for the first time, and I was like, "Hey, man, I gotta get you on a song." He's on this next album, so
Nice.
get my bro Nathan Mitchell on. I got to get Chris to actually feature on a song this time. I met Adrian Crutchfield. He's a good cat, man. I just did a show with him a few days ago. He's on this new album, and so I wanted to get all my friends on there, and also I wanted to get an album that features multiple different types of expressions of music, in which case what we talked about. So they've got funk on here, they've got some dance disco kind of vibe, which you've already heard. I have a single out called Dance featuring my good friend
Right.
Ryan Lavalette again, and that's like more of a pop disco vibe. Then I've got an actual kind of like should I say modern-ish pop track, I guess I could call it. And then I've got some R&B and soul in there, you know what I mean? And I've got some funk and like, all kinds of stuff. And that's why this album's called Boundless, because I'm not really bound by one specific box, I can do a lot more, you know what I mean? It features a lot more. So that's why this is called Boundless, and that was the idea I have for the project going forward. And so this one releases on August 1st, and I've actually got a show featuring this album. It's called the Boundless Release Party at Spaghettini's on August 11th.
There you go.
So if anybody in the Seal Beach, San Diego, LA area, if you're around, August 11th, get your tickets now. Come out and enjoy this experience that I have planned for you. And and I'll be doing music from both albums as well. So, because you don't want to forget your firstborn. You
No,
may have
man,
a
not that
favorite,
one.
but nah, you can't forget it, man. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's about the album, man. And it's a great one, if I do say so myself. I think it's a great follow up to Emergence, and I think people are going to enjoy it, man.
Oh yeah, man, no doubt. Because it's Emergence is popping, dude, no question. And I know this next one's gonna be you because you got a whole list. I mean, not only you're a hard hitter, but you got a whole list of hitters coming on this one, dude.
Yeah,
That's gonna be
exactly,
crazy.
man. So, yeah, man, and I think it's important to really not always kind of do everything yourself, because I work with a lot of producers, of course, because they fill in where I can't, in the blanks. But I think it's even better from a creative standpoint because it's like a lot of times if you're doing everything yourself, because I do produce and write my own music and stuff, but if you're doing everything yourself, you tend to get in your own way.
Yeah, yeah,
It's great to have a second pair of ears and somebody that can really kind of be like, okay, slow your roll, don't go that route, let's go this way. All right.
yeah.
And you have to be humble enough to take yourself out of it and be like, okay, I should listen to their advice. So I think that's one of my strengths. I listen to advice a lot. I'm very open to people's suggestions, and I don't close that door. So that's why I like working with a lot of people, because they can add things to the music to make a better final outcome than maybe you could have done just by yourself. Not saying it would be bad, but
Yeah.
it's like unrealized potential versus realized potential. It's different.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
That sounds like you need to go get you a PhD and go into philosophy and help some folk out, man.
No,
Yeah.
man, I just got a little something, something, been thinking
Yes,
too.
sir. No question.
Yeah,
All right,
no.
so I got to ask you about the last name, Yisrael. At least I
Hmm.
hope that's how I'm pronouncing it. Tell me about the.
Yisrael, close
Yes,
though.
sir. Okay, cool. Tell me about you brought that name to your life. Tell me about that.
So that's my dad is the architect of that. So it's a Hebrew name, Yisrael, and of course Lemek. Lemek is the father of Noah in the Bible. So for those who read Genesis, it was Methuselah, then Lamech, then Noah. So it's a biblical name. And Yisrael is just my name. He was like, you know what? I'm starting. I don't want the name, slave name Wilson, because that's what was given to us. Yisrael is from our patriarchal father, from Yahweh, is what I wish. If you go look up the name of God, his name was Yahweh in the Bible. That's the original name. That's what everybody was worshiping before, they took us abroad and brought us here. That's what we was worshiping. And so that's the true family name. It's Yisrael, which is Yahweh saves.
Okay. That's
Hmm.
beautiful, man. I like that. I
Hmm.
like that. I'm asking for myself, but I'm also asking for my daughter. My daughter was 9 years old when she told her mother and I that she wanted to be baptized, and
Mm.
so she's really she prays on everything. She prays every night before she goes to bed. She prays for everybody. She's still praying for folk that had something wrong a year ago, and she got it on the
Wow.
list mentally. It ain't even like I remind her of nothing. She got
Oh,
it.
wow.
It's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so I had to do that.
awesome.
Had to do
That's
that for her.
beautiful. Hmm.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so
It's
one last question: Who got the best gumbo in New Orleans, son?
Oh my goodness. Hey, I'm gonna be honest, man. I might be the wrong person to ask. I'm vegetarian actually, but
Okay,
I
all
will
right.
say this though. Dragos.
Dragos. All
They
right.
got gumbo there. From what everybody that I've taken there, it's been good. So go.
Nice,
Dragos.
nice.
If
I
not,
appreciate
Bobby A. Bears.
Bobby A. Bears.
Bobby A. Bears. Now that's not in New Orleans. That's outside in Kenner, but still go.
Close enough. All right, cool.
Close
That
enough.
works. That works. Lemek, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Thanks
Um,
for having me, man. This has been great, and I get to yap your ear off. I'm sorry, man.
nah. We good. That's why I brought you. That's why I brought you on, man, to let you do your
Yeah,
thing. No question. No question.
absolutely, man. So appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Give me your socials real quick before we go. I'm gonna make sure everybody gets that.
Absolutely, man. So you can follow me on Instagram at Lemek Music, Lemek Music. You can follow me on Instagram. No, not Instagram. I'm sorry. Facebook at Lemek/artist, and then
Okay.
also I have my personal/business page is Lemek Yisrael, Lemekyisrael. You can follow me there. That's where I'll be posting all my tour schedules and updates and about new music and things that's dropping. You can follow me there. If you want, also you can go visit my website. It's at Lemekyisrael music.com. You can purchase CDs. I actually have pre-orders for this live right now. So if you want a signed copy for this, shipping included, you can order it on my website as well as the first album as well. So you can get signed copies of both of these. I'll ship them right to you. And then you can also keep track of my tour schedules on the website as well and read a little bit more about me as well if you want to know a little bit about Lemek, the artist, and my story. So that's all the places you can find me. And you can find my music pretty much everywhere, like every streaming platform, Spotify, SoundCloud, Tidal, and probably a rock will fall out in the sky with a CD on it. So yeah, you find it everywhere. So just type my name in, Lemek, it'll show up. So yeah,
Nice.
that'll be it.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your time, bro. And hopefully we'll run into you somewhere along this journey. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to it. I got to come out that way.
All right, come on through, man. If you're ever in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston,
Yep.
that's the San Antonio is probably the closest to me, but Dallas and Houston
I
definitely as
was
well.
I was looking at getting to San Antonio. I think they have what is it, the Big Bib out there?
Yeah, man. Big Bib Barbecue, Big Bib
Yeah.
Entertainment.
Big
Yeah,
Bib
it's like
2. Yeah. I
yeah,
was looking at coming out there, man. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be
dude,
out
come
that way
through,
soon.
man. Come through, please. All
Awesome,
right.
man.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. Much love.